We're now talking to Laura Cheadle and the girls. Why don't you start by introducing yourselves?
I'm Laura Cheadle.
I'm Michelle Cheadle.
Uh-huh.
And I'm Emily Roan.
Okay. Can you tell me a bit about how you got started as a group?
Yeah, so I've been performing for years, me Laura, as a solo artist, and I recently, when I married my wife Michelle, we started playing together, and it was super organic, and I was like, let's start a girl band, and it's been taking off for about a year and a half, and it's been amazing.
Uh-huh. Where are you currently based?
We are based in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you've talked about, can you tell me a bit more about, what your music is like for the
Absolutely.
listener?
Our music is like pop, soul, indie. I have a very soulful voice, and we have elements of alternative.
Yep.
Michelle.
That's where I come in.
Yeah. And it's very like a joyful pop. We represent the LGBTQ plus community and women in general. We advocate in a joyful way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And certainly, pop soul. I love that combination, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
People who can still include soul
Yes.
into their sound.
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up, my father is like a Philadelphia legend in soul and music, so I grew up with listening to Aretha and Stevie Wonder and all the greats, so I love that kind of music.
Uh-huh. Laura, I know you had been a solo artist. What's it like now to be performing with your wife?
It is so amazing. Going from performing as a solo and my family band, it's different, but this is really something that is taking off, and everyone loves our chemistry on stage, Michelle and I, and it's more about the love we're showing, that love is love in every form.
This is, of course, a very, troubled time for
Yes.
LGBTQ people. How do you maintain that sense of joy and hope in this environment?
That's what we need. I mean, you can't fight hate with hate, so we don't say anything negative. We're just show our love story and show allies like Emily that are in the band, and we just show that you truly are loved. Everyone, no matter what you look like, anything. And that's what we need. And we're playing Pride festivals all over the country, so it's really important.
And what kind of feedback have you been getting? Have you been hearing from people who might have dealt with some of the same issues you did?
Yes, especially with our new release that just came out, Air Gets Tight. It's about anxiety and getting through that. And I have people coming out. I have people that are still in the closet that have not come out and that are using us as inspiration.
Well, that's really good to hear. I mean, it certainly does seem to be a better, maybe a more open environment for LGBTQ musicians. I mean, I remember when it was big news when an artist came out of the closet, and now it's just sort of not treated as such a big deal.
But when our rights are being compromised, it's so important to show that we are just normal people. You know, we are making it something to not make anything political, but just show how beautiful LGBT relationships are.
Absolutely. I'm wondering, what words of advice you would have for somebody who is struggling or about whether to come out or how to accept this idea that you have.
My wife only came out about 5 years ago. I think you should answer this one.
You get pretty much, no matter what you believe in, you get this is your life. And you have to not just consider the people around you, but consider yourself. And I had someone once say that it's okay to be selfish and not live for other people. And I think once you start living for your true self and just being yourself and realizing that that's okay, no matter, and other people's judgment doesn't matter. That's what's important. That's a self-love journey in itself too. It's not easy, and that's how life is. Things are hard sometimes, but we all get through it.
I am also wondering about, your families, how they responded to you coming out.
So I grew up in a very musician, liberal, open family. So I came out at 4 years old. So my story is funny because I was always myself. And that is very rare in the lesbian community. every girl I've ever met, it was like she
Yeah.
had to come out. I was just accepted, and that's a beautiful thing. But people like Michelle are a completely different story.
Yeah. I mean, there's also, I grew up in a very like religious home, and it was just very strict. So I think that was part of why I came out like later in life. But you know, it taught me good morals at least. So I mean, you got to find the positive through your journey. There are positive aspects, but
But no, there's nothing wrong with you. If you're gay, you're trans, anything in between. That's what people are afraid of. And people now, the climate is kind of teetering back to feeling like you're not deserve to be who you are, but you are.
yes.
And you know, you mentioned about maintaining hope, and it must be hard to maintain that hope sometimes.
Yes, I mean, I just know that the pendulum always swings the other way. So when something is super conservative, then the artists come out and we speak out, and it's important to speak out. But I really want to do it in a positive way because, like I said earlier, you can't fight hate with hate because it's just going to be people screaming into the abyss.
Are there any artists who've done similar things that you really admire? I mean, I'm certainly thinking of artists from the 60s like Curtis
yeah.
Mayfield.
Oh, I love Curtis Mayfield.
Yep.
You know, my mom loves Elton John, so growing up, he was always on in our house, and his journey, he was straight, you know, quote, and he had to come out. You know, it's wild how people had to hold back to be artists, and now you don't have to. You can be you.
And you've also mentioned writing songs about dealing with anxiety in general. Could you tell me a bit more about that?
Yes, our new single that was just released March 7th is called Air Gets Tight. It's Michelle and I wrote that together. I was feeling anxiety. Actually, it was because there was anti-gay people around me, even though I've been out for so long.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting with her, and we started writing this song. But it's a positive song.
Yeah, it's
About-
about, you know, how someone can kind of just take away all those pressures and that stress of anxiety. Just from, it could be from anything in life, though. I feel like it's a universal song.
It is.
But you know, when you find that person, that kind of just takes everything away, and you feel like you're kind of in your bubble and you're safe.
Yeah.
Well,